Hello, I'm making this video. Excuse me a second. Hello, I'm making this video to talk about pair production and a phenomenon that I've noticed in waveforms. But first, we have to talk about my string theory. There's two postulates in my string theory. Two things that I'm just saying are real. And it's up to you in the scientific community to accept if you want to accept it or not. Okay, first of all, the first postulate is that they are closed loop strings. Closed looped strings. These strings are instead of expressing their energy on the circumference of the string, my second postulate is they express their energy by remaining rigid, strings open, and they spin like physically spin, like you put a coin on the ground and spin it. Not like a propeller, but like a donut put on the ground and spun like a top. If it spins right, it may be positively or negatively charged. If it spins left, it may be positively or negatively charged. There's no way to tell which direction supplies what polarity, positive or negative. We just know if it spins left, it's going to be positive or negative, and if it spins right, it's going to be positive or negative. But we can say for sake of convention, that the electron spins left and the positron spins right. And also, to say that the spin direction affects polarity is the only thing in nature on a string that can generate a charge from free space. The string spins and it generates the charge, which generates a field. Negative, it's an electron. The string spins the other way, it generates a field and a charge, and it's a positron. And they're closed loop strings, and that builds the entire universe. Those postulates right there, those are my postulates. Oh, and they bond. Those strings can bond due to the weak force. When they spin and produce the force they produce, the electron produces the electromagnetic force, excuse me. I did that on the last video. I stated that the up quarks were negatively charged and they're positive. Anyway, not the last video. I had to delete it because that sounded so stupid. Anyway, but in this video we're going to talk about what the electron is constructed of. Closed loop strings that spin one way and generate a negative charge, spin one way and generate a positive charge. That's the weak force. And it generates this, it generates this short range force by spinning relativistically fast, generating a very high frequency field. And it is known and proven by physics that the higher the frequency of the field, the shorter the range of the field. And this field is detectable at about 10 to the negative 17th meters from the proton. There is a negative and positive aspect of this strong force field, which I don't hear them talk much about a strong force field a weak force field, because they don't know much about the weak force. Anyway, our string spins and creates the weak force. And it's a very short range, basically electromagnetic field, but it's the weak force because it's such a short range field on our string that doesn't express its identity by waves on the string or by and it only expresses its identity by spinning and remaining a rigid, solid circle string, like a donut spinning on its side. This radiates a field, a very short range, very powerful field for its size. And our postulate is they can bond due to those fields. How will they bond? Well, naturally in nature, they can't bond into squares. They're going to bond into circles, which creates another string. And that's the electron string. And this is a drawing of what we're going to talk about light next. We're going to talk about light and the strings that are in light. This is my drawing of leptogenesis. You can freeze it and look at it. I don't think you want to redraw it. It's a lot of drawing, a lot of little circles. But anyway, instead of drawing circles, I just draw lines now like this. This is the electron constructed of bosons, and these bosons are closed loop strings of string theory that express their identity by bonding with other strings instead of waveforms, frequencies on the circumference of the string. This constructs the entire universe. And if you're astute and you notice what I've just done, I've just unified the weak force and the electromagnetic force. And when I seen that happen by my postulates, I knew I was onto something big with my hypothesis and can turn it into a theory. Because in the bosons spin and generate their field and bond together into a larger string that's called the electron. This larger string is the electron that spins either right or left to generate the electromagnetic field's polarity and to generate the field and to generate its charge. Okay, how it unifies it is our postulates, and I know I was onto something big when I realized this. The weak force is unified by bonding with the other bosons or strings, I'll call them strings, around into a bonded circle that spins itself and generates the electromagnetic force. If it spins left, it generates the negative, and if it spins right, it generates the positive electron or positron. We need to cover... Oh, yeah. From now on, in diagrams I show you, or, well, any diagrams I show you, instead of it being drawn all these little circles, we're just going to do it in straight lines and say that there's a bunch of circles there and save a lot of time. And I want to give you this preview. No, we need to talk about light. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second, approximately. Gamma travels at the same speed. Gamma is what pair production occurs at. Gamma is where pair production occurs, electron production, where the waveform comes in, produces a positron and electron. They separate because when they're produced on the repulsive side of the weak force, and the weak force pushes them apart, and then they flip, and then they're on the attractive side of the weak force. They come back together, annihilate, and turn back into a gamma, and they're gone. That's pair production. They can stay electrons, but you got to have something capture the positron so the electron can't annihilate, or have something capture the electron so the positron can't annihilate. That's the only way to save your electrons from that. Light travels in a waveform. This is my model of leptogenesis. The top one is the electron, the bottom one is the positron. Over to the side we see the light waveform, and we see a bonding waveform. What I simply propose is a waveform has such high frequency, and they're so close together that those bosons or strings in the light wave, in the gamma wave, can bond, and they bond in the center. This is your waveform, and they bond in the center, and they produce two separate particles. That's the only way in nature I can figure this happening with my postulates. And it works. It works. It produces two particles. Now I know I'm onto something big because I'm doing this without math. Now I know I'm onto something really big because I don't have to apply much math to this to make headway, to make progress. And I do know my math. I studied math for 8 years. University of Notre Dame. Mail-out programs from Professor Benedict Giamo of American Studies. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about in this video. And that's how leptogenesis, I believe leptogenesis occurs. Thank you.